Μαζί μας έχουμε τη Dr. Catherine Smallwood. Mrs. Catherine, how serious is currently the situation right now with the coronavirus?
Well, I don't think I need to tell you that indeed the situation is very serious. WHO declared COVID-19 a public health emergency of international concern at the end of January. And at the end of February, we put our risk levels at very high at all levels, at country level and across the globe, which means that we flagged that this was a major issue. And so based on this, we can say that the situation is really extraordinary, but the measures that people need to take to protect themselves are not new. And these are really things that people know already, and are things like making sure that you're coughing into your elbow or into a tissue that you dispose of, keeping distance from people who have a respiratory disease and who are ill, being able to inform yourself properly in terms of the right information, seeking sources of information that are trustworthy, and making sure that you wash your hands regularly.
So we have a serious situation. What are the expectations for the next months? How far does this coronavirus is going to go, you think?
Well, we don't know, and I don't think anyone would have predicted what we've seen in the past 2 months. And just remember, this is a new virus. We're still learning about it every day, and it's very difficult to say how it will behave. But what we do know and what we do think is that we, as an international community, as individuals, as governments, as stakeholders, we can control, and it's really up to us. So if we take measures quickly and effectively, we will be able to control how it spreads, and we'll be able to control what happens in the next few months.
So there is a big effort globally to contain this virus. In matters of cure, where are we right now?
Well, we're a long way from where we were 2 months ago. So 2 months ago, we knew absolutely nothing. And right now, we have hundreds of different clinical trials that are taking place across the world to understand which therapeutic drugs work the best and how to be using them. At the same time, we have a global effort to try and find a vaccine. And that's something that we know will take a long time, but we already have over 20 vaccines that are currently in development and will be entering clinical trials.
Cyprus, with a population of 700,000, has currently 14 confirmed infections. How serious do you think are these figures?
So 14 is a relatively low number when you think about the global number of cases. So there's over 130,000 COVID-19 cases reported to WHO as of today. Most of those are in China. But what we've seen is that countries that have had sporadic cases, and this is the situation that Cyprus is in, where most of the cases are in persons that have returned from areas that have been affected, or are people who came into contact with those returning travelers. But what we do see is that countries do move very quickly from having sporadic cases to having small clusters, and those small clusters can very quickly become seeding grounds for the transmission of the virus in the communities. So even though the number seems a little bit low, and this is good, well, we would expect Cyprus to be doing everything in its power to really prepare for the eventuality that there may be more cases and that spread might occur.
So that means strict measures. What do our government should do in order to handle the situation better?
Yeah, so it's very important that governments prepare the country, and that all aspects of the health system are prepared to identify cases, so that health facilities, people who present themselves to the doctor, that doctors know what to look for, they know what to do, that people are informed as to what they should do if they think they might have signs, or they think they may have come into contact with someone who has COVID-19.
Is forbidding flights do you think, a measure that should be taken?
WHO's position with regards to travel restrictions is that no restrictions are necessary. What needs to happen is that countries are ready to identify cases through their health systems. Even countries that have put travel bans in place or border restrictions in place, we've seen that the virus has come in through the country. So it's a very weak defense. Better to put all efforts into the health system.
All right, that's it. Thank you very much, Dr. Catherine Smallwood.